centuries ago, three earthly young earthlings were transported from their native lands to my faraway world.
Before the X-Men, before the Justice League cartoons, even before Super Friends reached its peak, there was a short-lived Saturday morning experiment that dared to give kids a diverse team of superheroes who protected Earth from cosmic threats. They were the Space Sentinels, and chances are you've either forgotten them or never heard of them at all. Premiering in 1977, Filmation's Space Sentinels was one of those oddball Saturday morning shows that felt like it came from the future and then disappeared into the past. With only 13 episodes, it was overshadowed by louder, flashier shows. But what it tried to do was surprisingly forward-thinking. Today, we're going back to revisit the forgotten guardians of Saturday mornings. Produced by Filmation in 1977, the Space Sentinels follow three immortal heroes chosen by a galactic computer to safeguard humanity. Hercules, the mighty but good-natured strongman. Mercury, the witty and lightning-fast speedster. And Astrea, a shape-shifting heroine capable of transforming into any creature she imagined. Together they lived aboard a massive satellite directed by a sentient AI known as Sentinel-1, who dispatched them to save Earth from cosmic and supernatural dangers. At first glance, the premise sounded like Saturday morning fare, but the Space Sentinels had a deeper purpose. It was a show that dared to be both mythic and modern, bridging the timeless moral lessons of Greek mythology with the futuristic optimism of late 70s science fiction. Filmation's storytelling often aimed higher than the expectations of children's programming, weaving in subtle messages about teamwork, ethics, and humanity's role in the universe. The result was an animated series that felt both cerebral and campy, balancing philosophy with adventure in a way few shows dared attempt. One of the show's most memorable achievements was its quiet progressiveness. At a time when diversity in animation was rare, the Space Sentinels featured Astrea, one of the earliest black female protagonists in American cartoons. Her inclusion wasn't a token gesture. Instead, she was integral to the team, portrayed as intelligent, powerful, and empathic. The trio's unity reflected a multicultural, cooperative vision of heroism that stood in contrast to the more nationalist or individualistic tone of other superhero shows. In many ways, it foreshadowed the global-minded heroes that would populate later media. From Justice League Unlimited, G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, to She-Ra, Princess of Power. Beyond representation, the show's theme often echoed the moral complexity of its mythological roots. The villains weren't just monsters of the week. They often embodied greed, chaos, and the abuse of power. These conflicts mirrored real-world anxieties of the 1970s, environmental degradation, nuclear fears, and the tension between science and spirituality. While the animation was limited and the dialogue sometimes stilted, the Space Sentinels managed to tell stories that carried genuine weight beyond their colorful exteriors. Unfortunately, the show's ambition became its downfall. It ran for only one season, totaling 13 episodes. Filmation, ever pragmatic, retooled the concept into a new series called The Freedom Force, which kept Hercules but replaced the rest of the team with more familiar mythic figures like Isis and Sinbad. The reasoning was simple. The Space Sentinels had struggled with ratings. Its heady mix of mythology, futurism, and moral storytelling may have been too complex for younger viewers and too fantastical for adults. In the decades that followed, the Space Sentinels slipped into obscurity, remembered only by who caught it during its brief broadcast run or stumbled upon it in the depths of VHS collections. Yet its influence never truly vanished. The show's blend of ancient myth and modern heroism can be traced through latter Filmation projects and even beyond, visible in the DNA of countless animated teams who balance cosmic duty with human compassion. In regards to looking back, the Space Sentinels feels like a time capsule from an era when animation still dared to experiment. Its bright colors and moral earnestness might seem quaint, but beneath that lies a vision of heroism that was ahead of its time, inclusive, introspective, and unafraid to question what it means to protect not just a city or nation, but an entire planet. So, the next time you hear that vintage Filmation fanfare or catch a glimpse of those heroic silhouettes orbiting within the Earth, remember this forgotten trio of guardians. The Space Sentinels may not have lasted long, but its legacy continues. A shining example of what happens when imagination, idealism, and myth collide among the stars.